Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Paul Grossweiler, Chair of the Department of Communication and Journalism, and I would like to thank all of you for coming to participate in the second annual Alan Miller Fund Visiting Journalist Program. So we're extremely fortunate to have to be able to host Mark Feeney, Boston Globe arts writer and 2008 Pulitzer Prize winner for criticism. I would like to acknowledge several key people whose support made his visit a reality. President Bob Kennedy, Provost Sue Hunter, who's in the audience, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Dean Jeff Hecker, and our colleagues from the Office of University Development and Alumni Relations. And I would also like to thank members of our local community of journalists for joining us today. So our deepest gratitude goes to UMaine Journalism alumna and CBS Senior Vice President for Regulatory Policy, Ann Lucy. Ann's generosity established the Visiting Journalist Program in honor of her late husband, Alan Miller. UMaine journalism professor, Alan was one of the key faculty members whose leadership built the journalism program at UMaine. Although Ann is unable to be with us today, with the help of Assistant Professor Sunny Hughes and her advanced journalism class, the reception is being webcast live on Mobile Maine News. And the students' full coverage of Mark's visit will be available on Mobile Maine News website tomorrow. So to introduce our Alan Miller Fund Visiting Journalist, please join me in congratulating soon-to-be Associate Professor with tenure, Mike Sokolow. Mike, who single-handedly organized this event and all its myriad of details, was awarded tenure and promotion just 2 weeks ago. Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks to everybody who had to do with my tenure. But just a quick thing. The biggest thanks for this event is really to Ann Lucy, the CBS Vice President who made this possible. She gave it in honor of her late husband, Alan Miller, who taught in our department for several decades. And Alan Miller, I've been told, thought that one of the most important things in his journalism courses was to bring in practicing journalists to share their experiences in the classroom and to inspire students. Mark has done that today. He's taken part in 4 classes already, which is really incredible teaching effectiveness. And I hope that he continues to teach us with his remarks today. Mark Feeney started as a researcher in the Boston Globe's library in 1979. He's been an assistant book editor, editor of the Globe's weekly section, book editor of the Globe's weekly section of news analysis and commentary, and a staff writer for Boston Globe magazine. Feeney's currently an arts writer and photography reviewer for the Globe's Living Arts section. Mark won the Pulitzer Prize for criticism in 2008 for his, quote, penetrating and versatile command of the visual arts, from film and photography to painting, unquote. Mark's book, Nixon at the Movies, a book about belief, was published by University of Chicago Press in 2004, and since 2004 he's been a lecturer in American Studies at Brandeis University, and in 2007 he was invited to be the Robbins Professor of Writing at Princeton University. I just want to make a note about this book, Nixon at the Movies. Buy this book. It's a great book. It's not just because it's stylistic prose. I don't want to embarrass you or whatever. This is my video. But seriously, it's one of the few pieces of scholarship I've read that actually moves you. It's so beautifully written. You'll learn a lot from it, like Patton was not Nixon's favorite movie, which everybody thinks. And if you're a junkie for early 70s craziness, like I am, they're all in here. James Brown, Elvis Presley, Robert Redford, Henry Kissinger. It's amazing that they all cohere, but they all cohere very, very well. In the spirit of the Alan Miller Fund program, which is bringing in this working journalist and really sharing their experiences, I didn't ask Mark to give a formal address. Rather, I asked him to prepare informal remarks to kick off a more interactive question and answer discussion in this program. With that, I give you Mark Feeney.
It's funny that Mike mentioned those 4 particular people. 2 of them I've interviewed. One of them I wrote the obituary for, and the 4th one I've written about a lot, but you'll have to guess who the 4th one was. Thank you all for coming. And it seems somehow fitting to be talking about the future of arts journalism on April Fool's Day. And I also want to begin by apologizing to the students out there, since I'm going to start with the 5 most shameful words in the middle-aged vocabulary, which are also the 5 most tedious words for college students to hear. When I was your age. When I was your age, those of us interested in the arts followed and worshipped, that's not too strong a word, writers like Pauline Kael in The New Yorker, Greil Marcus in Rolling Stone, John Leonard in The New York Times, James Walcott in The Village Voice. Those are among my own personal pantheon, but anyone my age, or your age, back then, who cared about movies or books, excuse me, or television had his or her own tutelary deities too. These reviewers mattered to us as excellent, passionate writers, but they were even more important as mediators. Mediators between the arts they wrote about and the consumers of those arts, that is, us, their readers. Their opinions helped form, and perhaps in some cases deform, our tastes. They helped educate us. They certainly helped educate me. But that was more than 30 years ago. Mediation and gatekeeping, as priorities of arts journalism, are long gone. Instead, we live in an age of aggregation and gatecrashing. This is a good thing in many ways. The fewer hierarchies there are in the world, the more transparency there is, the better. This is certainly true, as we know, in government and business, and largely true in society as a whole. I say largely, since in fact it doesn't really apply so much to the arts, which to a very great degree are about hierarchies, and in which opacity has a unique value, opacity being another word for the mystery of artistic creation. This makes me wonder about the future of arts journalism, or at least the nature of that future. So long as there's journalism, there will be arts journalism. But to what degree will it resemble the enterprise as someone like me practices it? In certain key respects, the web is almost ideally suited to arts journalism. There are, as we all know, some things the web does not lend itself to journalistically. In-depth reporting, investigative journalism, profitability, especially profitability. There are some things, though, for which the web works wonderfully well. Listings, opinion, multimedia, and those are all important components of arts journalism. Listings, though, are essentially mechanical, and multimedia, while a terrific enhancement, as I guess we'll find out tomorrow when these proceedings go online, isn't central to what arts journalism does, so its opinion I'd like to focus on for the next couple of minutes. What is the one journalistic form that the web has created? Blogs, thank you. I was going to ask originally how many of you have blogs, but I'm told that it is now regarded as infra-dig to own up to having a blog, so I will not ask that, but I dare say there are a fair number of you out there who have blogs. I don't have one, but I contribute to one, so I speak from at least some experience. That said, I'm no expert, but my sense is that there are 2 subjects that most attract bloggers: politics and the arts, which makes perfect sense. Anyone who is a citizen has a constitutional right to express a political opinion, and anyone who has seen a movie or watched a TV show or listened to a recording, or maybe just has an awareness of them, has a cultural right to express an aesthetic opinion. The problem with political blogs, as has often been noted, is that they so rarely include supporting argumentation or factual evidence. That's not such a problem with arts blogging. Part of the joy of the arts is that there's never a final right or wrong. What's the greatest American novel? By almost universal consensus, it's Moby Dick. Yet soon after Moby Dick was published, as many of you know, it effectively disappeared from public view for 70 years. All right, so who's right, them or us? Well, we think we're right, but who knows what people will think a century from now.